time we present the first program in our Radio on the Air detective thriller series, True Crime. Inspired by story suggestions from you, our Poulsbo community audience, and written by Ken Jones. True Crime. One of your suggestions was a Dragnet-style detective mystery, so we've modeled tonight's show after the Dragnet radio series created and written by Jack Webb. We call this episode Murder in Poulsbo, the big story, and it is set right here in Poulsbo, Washington in the year 1936. You'll hear quite a few familiar place and family names from the past scattered throughout the script. And while we've tried to be as chronologically accurate as possible, it is a fictional account, so don't be too surprised if we veer away a bit from actual historical fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
How in the devil did she get out, Dino? I had this warehouse locked up tight, and I chained her to that wood stove myself.
That was the trouble, Manny. That train got real hot. She was miserable, and it was blistering her wrists and her ankles.
So what if it was hot?
Look, Manny, we needed her healthy. For the ransom, you know, and I kind of liked looking at them ankles.
Louise Lathrop was worth $100,000 to us, easy, you idiot.
So anyway, I decided to unchain her, and I tied her up to the post.
You know, Dino, I'm sick to death of listening to you.
She was doing just fine there, but then she grabbed that big chain and hit me with the clamps, close to killed me. And when I came to, she was gone, and her car too.
You know, I've been underestimating you all these years, Dino. You're even stupider than I thought.
Hey, look, Manny, it was just
It was just the last straw, Dino. You've been an anchor around my neck for too long.
What the? Hey, Manny, no!
Ah, damn.
Oh!
Your gut shot, Dino.
Oh.
It'll take hours for you to die. Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Oh!
Ha! Yes. That's so much better. So nice and dead quiet. Now, you know, Dino, a tire iron's a really handy thing to have in an emergency. Here you go, Dino, old buddy. This guy's anchor chain will look good on you. Man, you are one heavy load of lutefisk. Okay, now settle yourself down into the water there, peaceful like my friend, and don't make a fuss. You're probably feeling all beat up anyway, after that nice long ride. If you happen to run into any of our old friends where you're going, tell them Manny Troy sent you. Ha! Yeah, there was some old fisherman sailed out from Pimlico.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you True Crime. This is your True Crime host, Al Gunby speaking. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes. You'll find that they now cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you.
Ah, that's different and so mild.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette, best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Detective Sergeant working for the Seattle Police Department. A murder victim's mutilated body has been found tangled in the anchor chain of a boat floating free in the bay near the small town of Poulsbo in Puget Sound. You've been assigned to homicide and detailed to assist the local police force. Your job? Get the killer. True Crime, the documented drama of an actual crime investigated and solved by the men and women who unrelentingly stand watch over the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 90 minutes, in cooperation with your local police force, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from actual police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, True Crime is the story of your police force in action.
My name is Joe Thursby. I'm a cop. At 9:07 a.m. Monday morning, October 19th, I disembarked from the Mosquito Fleet Steamboat Hyack at the municipal dock in Poulsbo, Washington. Poulsbo, a sleepy community on a pretty little bay on the Kitsap Peninsula, somewhere you'd like to bring your kids to for a nice warm summer vacation, fishing, hiking, boating, nice places to stay with nice people. That's how it can be anyway, but not today. Today it was heavily overcast and cold there on Puget Sound. I was working the day watch out of homicide, detailed here by my boss, Police Captain Sam Holbrook of the Seattle Police Department. At 9:15 a.m., I purchased a Seattle Post-Intelligencer paper at Anderson's Rexall drugstore on Front Street. Then I got a cup of coffee at the soda fountain. There on the front page of the PI was what I was looking for. Over the weekend, the body of an unidentified murder victim had been discovered floating in Liberty Bay. At 9:37 a.m., I used the payphone on the wall at the end of the counter to make a call to Poulsbo Mayor Selmer Mirbeau to schedule an appointment for 11:30 later that morning. Then I called Captain Holbrook to check in.
Holbrook.
Sergeant Thursby, sir, just checking in.
Well, good, Joe. That's good. We want to jump right on this, Joe. Mayor Mirbeau's worried that the mob's moving in there to his peaceful little community. It's got him pretty jumpy.
We'll definitely be looking into that, sir.
Well, good. Your partner, Frank, is driving the patrol car around, so you'll have wheels over there?
Yes, sir. He's taking that new Art Deco ferry, the Kalakala, to Bremerton, and he's driving up. We're meeting at Willie's gas station by the Grandview Hotel later today.
Yeah, that new car ferry system's pretty handy, huh, Joe?
It sure is, Captain. We'll be staying there at the Grandview, like you said.
Well, good. Yeah, I always stay at the Olympic Hotel down the street myself, but you should try that Grandview. Oh, that old Studebaker Frank's bringing around, still running kind of rough, is it?
Yes, sir. It was the only car available.
Well, better take it into Tolanen's garage then, right across from Bauer's Bakery there on Front Street. I entered Tolanen's, my old salmon fishing buddy. He'll tune it up for you overnight and have it back to you first thing in the morning.
Yes, sir. Blackmouth salmon, Chinook, that what you fish for, sir?
No. We catch native silvers mostly, Joe.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll see to the Studebaker when Frank gets here.
What's playing at the Elmo Theater, Joe? Einer and I spent a lot of time in there back when we were kids on Saturdays, watching westerns all afternoon.
Probably closed on a Monday, but the marquee says Camille, sir. Greta Garbo and Robert Taylor.
Oh, yeah, Joe, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
I got a call earlier from the Bureau of Indian Affairs about the Suquamish tribe over there near Agate Pass by Bainbridge Island, you know?
Yes, sir.
The tribal police report that an Indian relic of some sort's been stolen. I guess whatever it is pretty important. They could use our help. I'd like you to look into it while you're over there.
Yes, sir, we will.
You're to see the tribal elder, Miss Jacobs. She can fill you in.
Yes, sir, Miss Jacob. At 10:47 a.m., I got Miss Jacobs' number from information and arranged to visit her at her home first thing the next morning. At 11:28 a.m., I met with Mayor Selmer Mirbeau in his office on the second floor of the Mirbeau building on Front Street.
Gosh, it's good to see you then. Welcome to Poulsbo, Sergeant Thursby. Care for a cigar?
No, thank you, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, well, that's fine.
It's my first visit to Poulsbo. It's a really nice place.
Oh, well, now you know. There you are. You see, it's really Poulsbo, you know, like in Paul's place. It's Norwegian, of course. Common mistake. They misspelled it, you see. Wrote it down wrong, like, when they founded the town.
Ah, yes, sir.
After Paul Wall, we think. He was a member of the King's Guard there in Norway before he settled here. Important position, you know?
Yes, sir.
But now, here, first things first, let me introduce my chief of police, Harold Lundson.
Pleased to meet you, Chief Lundiston.
Yeah, and you, Sergeant Thursby. Yeah, we got ourselves in a real can of worms here, Sergeant. Yeah, well, I gotta admit, we're pretty clueless right now.
Thanks for stopping by, Harold. Indeed. We are pretty well flummoxed here. These things just don't happen every day, you see. Now do they?
No, I don't imagine they do, sir. We hope to help you sort things out.
We? Oh, yes, you mean your partner, Sergeant Cannon.
Yes, sir. Frank's driving our patrol car around.
Ah, sure. Yes, well, you're Captain Holbrook. He speaks very highly of you both. Here now, Sergeant, you have a seat. Boy, this is really something, isn't it? This looks almost like some kind of mob thing, you know? We aren't ready for mob violence here, not in our little Poulsbo. No way. I mean, we sure aren't ready for that. There's always some corruption, maybe, always some of that. But Kitsap is a big, spread-out county, you know. Corruption in high places, maybe, don't you know, like there in Bremerton, maybe. but not down here, you see, not in our little town. Right there, Harold?
Well, now, Mr. Mayor, could you tell me how it all started?
Oh, yeah, well, Ludwig Skogsas, he runs our billiard parlor right there on Front Street, at the curb, a couple of doors down. Ludwig, now, he lives overhead there, and that Ludwig, he's an early riser, you know, and he was having his coffee there like a typical Sunday morning for Ludwig, you know, looking out the window over the town right around 6:30 yesterday morning. And he spotted my motor launch, the Umrah, that is, with his glasses, you see, and floating free off the end of the municipal dock out there in the incoming tide. And of course, he called me at once, seeing it was a hazard to navigation and all. Woke me up.
I see, sir.
Well, then I got up, see, and I called Harold here.
Yeah, so I went down to the docks and grabbed Len Haskins' dinghy to go out and there and take a look.
The town's dory is over in Ron Young's shop at the moment, getting new rub rails.
Yeah, so Len docks the dinghy at his pier there by the cafe, and he's been letting us use it.
So you see, Harold ran right out there, real quick like.
Yeah, I'd figure I'd tie it back up to its mooring buoy, but that's when I discovered the body. Yeah, what was left of it, all wrapped up there in an anchor chain.
I see.
Don't think he was from around here.
Why do you say that, Chief Lundiston?
Well, yeah, his clothes mostly city-bought suit, fancy pinstripes, solid gold tie clasp, and cufflinks to match. Yeah, somehow they stayed on through all that.
Not like around here. We don't wear them things much.
Yeah, and all that cost a pretty penny. Yeah, and his shoes, too, that fancy Italian leather, yeah, you know.
Nah, he couldn't be from Poulsbo.
Yes, sir.
Woo-wee. Boy, this sort of thing, it just doesn't happen every day, you know? Well, of course, now we both immediately notified Chris Christensen, our Justice of the Peace.
Yeah, and then I called in County Sheriff Corliss. No name is Corliss since high school. Yeah, we were both in the first class to graduate here from Poulsbo High School back in 1920.
Yeah, Harold, yeah. Well, then, yeah, a little while later, I decided to call your Captain Holbrook to ask for his assistance, you know?
Yes, sir.
Well, now, I just sure hope you can make something out of all this. And, of course, that you will keep me and Harold abreast of the things, as they say, you know, go along like. Oh, and Peter Iverson, now he's the editor of our Kitsap County Herald here across the street there. And, well, he's been asking me all sorts of questions, and...
Yes, sir. Well, I'll certainly be keeping you and Chief Lundiston apprised of any developments. Now, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, some questions?
Oh, call me Silmer, Sergeant. Certainly. Now, you just go right ahead.
Have either of you seen any suspicious characters in town recently, sir?
Suspicious, you say? Well, no. Not that I...
Well, wait a minute, Selmer. There was that fella a couple of days ago.
Yeah?
Well, now you mention it, Harold. Yeah, he might have been a little suspicious, I guess, huh?
Yeah, Selmer. Yeah, last Tuesday it was, the 13th, man, a stranger, well, he was causing a kind of ruckus in Len's cafe. He'd been making a big fuss over Lulabelle.
Lulabelle?
She gets a lot of notice around here, you know, Lulabelle does.
Yeah, she called Len over, and, well, he called me then.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Harold went over there, right quick.
Yeah, I talked to the guy outside. He was pretty wound up at the time at first, talking big and much and such. And then, pretty soon he just left.
Did you get the man's name?
Yeah, well, no, Sergeant. I did ask him for identification, his driver's license, don't you know? Yeah, but he refused. So he was a big fella and acting kind of, well, belligerent, so, well, I didn't press it.
Does that help you there, Sergeant?
Possibly, Mr. Mayor. No one else, then?
Don't guess so, Sergeant.
Well, then I believe that's all we need for now. Thank you both for your time. At 4:48 p.m., I checked in at the Grandview Hotel, and then I met my partner, Detective Sergeant Frank Cannon, at Willie's gas station. We proceeded to Tullinen's garage, where we dropped off the patrol car.
Yeah, that carburetor's pretty blackened up, and your points there are just about shot. Plugs look pretty good, though. Seem pretty new. You stop by 8 o'clock tomorrow, okay? She be ready for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Tullinen.
Oh, that's Ironer. You call me Ironer now, and give my best to your captain, Sam, there.
Yes, sir.
You know, Joe, she was something special. Really something.
Apparently, Frank had had quite a night. Yeah, Frank?
Oh, yeah, Joe. Something special.
I guess so.
You know, Joe, at night, you got it all. The hot fudge sundae with whipped cream, the cherry on top, you know?
Sure.
And then the next morning, all you got left is the bowl.
Whatever you say, Frank. My partner was a notorious bachelor around the station, and he enjoyed nothing more than starting the day going over his exploits of the previous evening.
So what you been doing, Joe? You got a line on what's going on out here?
Well, for starters, after I met with the mayor, I checked us both into the Grandview Hotel. Here's your key.
Thanks, Joe.
Well, then there's this one funny thing.
Yeah, Joe?
That was the mayor's own boat floating free out there in the bay, Frank.
That's right, Joe. Where they found the body. Funny. So, what do you say, Joe? After that ride on the Kalakala and then that long drive up in the noisy Studebaker, I'm ready for dinner.
I could eat, Frank.
Hiya, fellas. New in town? Welcome to Len's. Here for dinner, are ya?
We sure are, sis. You got a good steak, I could eat the rump off a bull.
Sure. Sirloin or porterhouse, take your pick. Len grills them up special. Take any booth. I serve them all.
That you do, sweet lady. That you certainly do, eh, Joe?
Here's your porterhouse, hun. Blood rare, just like you said. Len just brushed it past the grill quick like and threw it on this plate. I swear I just heard it moo.
You're an angel doll.
And here's your burger and slaw, friend.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else I can do you for? Coffee? Tea? Me?
So then, Frank, after talking to the mayor, I stopped in to see Ludwig Skogsas. He's the one who spotted the boat yesterday. After that, I walked down to Mo Brothers Pier, where they've got it roped off. And I stopped in to question Ronald Young, the man who designed and built all those Poulsbo boats. Said he built the Mares back in 1928. That's a shop over there across the street. He's built a couple of hundred of those boats down there in that basement.
So, a very nervous Mayor Mirbeau has invited us here to his fair city to investigate a pretty messy homicide involving his own boat.
It's about the size of it, Frank.
Funny.
You gonna eat that burger or just look at it?
Eat it, I believe, ma'am. Lulabelle.
Okay, just wondering. Guess I could take it back and have Len warm it up for you. Much as you talk, I don't imagine you get to eat much. Look a little on the thin side to me.
No, it'll be fine, miss. Thanks.
Whatever.
She likes you, Joe.
Sure, Frank.
They don't get many of those around here, I don't guess.
What's that, Frank?
Homicides? Wouldn't get a lot of homicides in a little town like this.
No, I wouldn't expect so.
Guy sounds suspicious, huh, Joe? That guy you say Chief Lundiston ran into.
Yeah, maybe, Frank. Pretty enough thing.
That waitress, Lulabelle? Oh, yeah. She's a humdinger, Joe.
No, Frank. That That little 16-foot motor launch of the mayor's. Inboard Briggs & Stratton one-stroker with a nice fresh coat of spar varnish.
I didn't know you were into boats so much. Gonna do some fishing in the mayor's boat while you're over here, Joe, are you?
Not hardly, Frank. Just thinking. Me and my dad used to fish not too far from here up near Eglon Beach. It was a good time for us, Frank. But all those currents out on the Sound sure could have used a nice boat like that. Grandview Hotel's this way, Frank. I don't think I mentioned, it was Dr. H.V. Larson, a local MD here in town. He filled out the death certificate. He says the victim was shot twice in the stomach with a .38 caliber revolver, but looks like he died from a head wound.
Is that so?
Yeah, Frank. And the coroner figures the perpetrator might have dragged him here alongside his boat, just let his head bang against the propeller most of the way.
It sounds like the perp didn't like him much.
No, I don't believe he did, Frank. Anyway, the guy ended up here and might have just picked out the first boat he found and wrapped its anchor chain around him.
Ooh, cold son of a gun, Joe.
Yeah, Frank. Cold. Well, good night, Frank. See you in the morning.
Night, Joe.
At 7:52 a.m. on Tuesday morning, October 20th, Frank and I drove to the Suquamish Reservation, where we met with Miss Julia Jacobs. Morning, ma'am. I'm Detective Sergeant Joe Thursby, and this is my partner, Sergeant Cannon. We're with the Seattle Police Department. We've come about the missing relic.
Of course.
I believe you mentioned to me that it was a blanket on the phone yesterday.
Yes, it was. Come into my house, won't you, Sergeant? Pleased to meet you both. I'm Julia Jacobs. Here, have a seat. And you, Sergeant Cannon.
Thank you, ma'am. It was the Office of Indian Affairs, that's federal, that called our boss, Captain Holbrook.
The OIA, yes, of course. I called them myself.
Could you tell us a little more about the relic?
I'm having my morning yarrow blossom tea, a preventative, and some lefse. Would you like some?
No, thank you, ma'am.
No, thank you, ma'am. We just had our coffee.
Really strange.
Beg pardon, ma'am?
That old Indian blanket. Who'd want to take it? Means the world to us here, and to all the Lushootseed-speaking Suquamish tribes. But
Morning, Miss Jacobs. Oh, sorry.
Come in, Joey.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt.
Come, have some tea. Mr. Holmes hasn't come to pick you up yet. Sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
These gentlemen are here about the blanket. Did you know, sergeants, Suquamish, the word, means place of clear salt water?
No, ma'am, I didn't know that. Do you mind if I take notes?
No.
Do you live alone here, Miss Jacobs?
Well, mostly. But of course there's Joey here.
Yes, sir. Miss Jacobs lets me live in the shed there, out behind the house.
Is that Joey Jacobs?
No, sir. I'm Joey George.
Joey's the son of Milo George and a cousin of mine. She died a few years back. Canoeing accident. Milo's living over by Squim now with a Sklallam woman.
Yes, ma'am. Can you tell me when you first noticed the blanket was missing?
Let's see. Well, now, I saw that it wasn't there, in the cedar trunk that would be, Saturday night, about 8 o'clock. Might have been gone longer, though. Don't look in that old trunk much.
Yes, ma'am.
Beep. Beep.
Excuse me, Miss Jacob. I should go now.
Do you have any more questions for Joey?
No, ma'am.
Go on, Joey. You see, it was Chief Wahalchu, his blanket. That makes it special. A robe, really. That's how he wore it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm his oldest living relative. He adopted me way back, when I first came here from the West Indies, in the 1890s.
Really, ma'am?
So it comes to me. Jacob Wahalchu, see? Jacobs, that's my name. We Indians get our names from his first name.
Yes, ma'am.
Lived to be 112 years old, Chief Wahalchu did. He was an important chief to us.
Yes, ma'am, I see.
The last to be chief of all the separate Suquamish tribes around Fort Madison here. Like Chief Seattle was, you know.
Yes, ma'am, I see.
He was a direct descendant of Chief Seattle, Chief Wahalchu. When he died in 1911, well, the blanket came back to us here, and now to me. So it's mine, for while I'm alive anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
Got western red cedar bark woven right into it, his robe has. Cedar's the most important gift, that and the salmon, to all us Salish people.
Yes, ma'am.
Strange, though. Who'd want that old blanket?
At 2:32 p.m., we arrived at the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office in Port Orchard, where we met with Sheriff Corliss.
Well, Sergeant Thursby, Sergeant Cannon. I'm Miss Corliss, the sheriff around here.
Glad to meet you, sir.
Captain Holbrook said he put you two on the case. It's a real stumper. No identification on that guy's body. Only been in the water for a few hours. Somebody really didn't like the man, though. Head was a real mess. Hardly any face left at all. Autopsy report here says he had 2 bullet wounds, but his skull was crushed by some kind of iron bar. That's what killed him.
Yes, sir, we've seen the body.
We're running an ID on him now. Fingerprints, dental records, the usual.
Yes, sir.
Well, I hope you can turn up something. We'll give you all the help we can.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah. And then, well, there's this other thing, unrelated. Guess so, anyway. Ought to interest you fellas.
Yes, sir, Sheriff.
Well, we just found a car. Prettiest thing you ever saw up by Port Gamble Lumber Mill, not far off our new Highway 21.
A car, sir?
A couple of bear hunters up from San Francisco found it early this morning, tucked in there under a grove of hemlocks. Bright yellow. A brand new 36 Lincoln Zephyr convertible.
I see, sir.
Registration on the steering column is to Louise Marie Lathrop. Address 14th Avenue over there on Capitol Hill in Seattle.
Yes, sir. We'll be glad to look into it.
Well, your Captain Holbrook says she reported missing 5 days ago. 14th Avenue. That's your Millionaire Row, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
Louise Lathrop. Why does that name sound so familiar?
Well, aside from the fact that her timber magnate dad funds all the politicians in the state, and he's always in the papers, well, it turns out she's Laney Lathrop's sister.
The movie star. Oh, sure, that's it. That Laney Lathrop. She's got a pretty wild reputation down there in Hollywood.
Yeah, Sergeant. And we did talk to her. No reason to suspect that she's involved, of course. But if she needs it, she's got some alibi. Apparently, she spent the whole week with Earl Flynn at his beach house in Malibu. Several big parties involved, lots of big names coming and going, and they all say she hasn't left the premises.
Yes, sir.
And according to your Captain Holbrook, the rest of the family's fully accounted for as well. They say Louise normally calls home pretty regular. And when she didn't after a couple of days, they got worried. They did say she's been pretty unpredictable and restless lately, and apparently they knew that she's been coming over here for several weeks now, but they don't know why.
I see, sir.
You think maybe she's trying to catch up with all that, Hollywood excitement with her sister, sir?
Well, maybe, Sergeant. But anyway, Captain Holbrook said we could count on you fellas helping out with our missing person as well while you're here.
Oh, yes, indeed, sir. We'll sure do that.
At 5:45 p.m., Frank and I visited several business owners on Front Street to see if anyone had seen the bright yellow Lincoln convertible. Then at 7:04 p.m., I left Frank at the hotel and walked down to the Almo Theater on Front Street. Ingrid Freeboth?
Sure, upstairs in the projection booth. Through there, top of the steps. There's a door. You'll see it. Just knock first.
Thanks, miss.
I'm not always sincere. One can't be in this world, you know. But I am not sorry for you stay, Captain.
Nor am I.
That you, Catrice? Hold on a sec. Thought you were slammed down the... Oh, sorry.
Are you Ingrid Freeboth? I'm with the
Yes?
police.
Oh, sure. I know who you are. You're the cop came over from the SPD. Come on in. What can I do for you?
Well, Mr. Tollenan, your boss at the garage, said I'd find you here. He mentioned that you pumped gas for a woman yesterday, I believe. This woman, do you recognize her in this photograph?
Sure, that was her. With that brand new yellow Lincoln Zephyr. Who could forget that?
I'm afraid she's missing, and you were one of the last people to see her. Did you notice anything unusual about her?
Well, she was real pretty, and she dressed really nice, and she was in a big hurry. And, oh yeah, when I saw she had a couple of packages there on the seat by her, she kind of covered them up with this old worn Indian blanket. That struck me as kind of funny.
Yes, miss. What time was that?
Yesterday afternoon, about 3 o'clock.
Yes, I see. Anything else?
Well, she smoked a lot. I always notice that about customers when I'm pumping gas. Chain smoked 'em, 3 cigarettes maybe. She did seem pretty worried about something.
Can you describe those packages?
Yeah, wrapped up tight in wax paper. Little bigger than a carton of cigarettes, I guess. That's what I thought they were at first, but they looked a little heavier, just sitting there, you know?
Yes, miss. Thanks. I appreciate your help.
You two again. Back for a late dinner, I guess. This is getting to be a habit, fellas.
Don't suppose you're still serving breakfast.
Breakfast all day until we close in about an hour, that is. What's your poison, fellas?
4 large eggs over easy, hash browns, a sausage, links, 6 of them, and a big pile of pancakes. You got real syrup, maple?
No. We got lingonberries and whipped cream, though.
Oh, that sounds good. Okay.
And you, honey? Appetite showed up yet?
2 eggs, soft poached, and toast, and coffee. Thank you, ma'am.
Think nothing of it, sweetie. We'll get you fed yet. The eggs are from my own yard-raised layers, you know. I bring 'em in from home myself. Coffee for you two, Bud, or you on the wagon?
Oh, yes, indeed, coffee. Just bring over the pot. Don't mind my friend. Long day. He's more of a morning person.
Morning, huh? Yeah, I'll bet you are, honey.
At 8:12 p.m., Frank and I returned to the Grandview Hotel, where the desk clerk, Mrs. Bjornland, called me over.
I hope you gentlemen are enjoying your stay with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes, very much. You have a fine hotel here.
I'm glad. Well, it's not all mine, but I am part owner. My cousin, you know, Einar Nilsson, shipbuilder he was, and he built this hotel too. That's his house, directly across Front Street there. He really liked the view, Einar did. Confirmed old bachelor all his life, Einar was.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, now here, before I forget, Sergeant Thursby, why I called you over. You got this phone message a while ago, I'm afraid, to call Sheriff Corliss when you got back.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Bjornland.
I can place that call for you right now if you like.
Yes, ma'am, if you don't mind.
Okay. There you go, Sergeant. Just pick up that phone there on the desk.
Thank you, ma'am.
Corliss?
This is Sergeant Thursby. Sorry to call back so late.
Joe?
You left a message with the desk here at the Grandview Hotel to call you as soon as I came in.
Yeah, a long day for you guys, huh, Joe? No problem. Look, we got an ID on our boating victim up there. His name's Dino Fiorelli. And it's no big surprise. Looks like things finally caught up with our boy Dino.
Dino Fiorelli, one of your regulars, Sheriff?
Yep, big time. He and a very slick customer, Manny Troy, run the Sunset Lounge out there just past the Gorse Turn south of Bremerton. Kind of surprised I didn't recognize him now. They've both been involved in illegal gambling and other shady dealings over there for years. Never quite had enough to put him away for good, though.
I see, sir.
Oh, and a real record of violence. We just called in his wife, Laura Fiorelli, and, well, she confirmed it was him.
Okay, Sheriff. Laura Fiorelli.
Did you say Laura Fiorelli? Holy moly. That woman is dynamite.
Detective Anderson, please report to the morgue dispatch desk. Detective Anderson, please report to the morgue dispatch desk.
Yeah, that's him, I guess.
This is your husband, Dino Fiorelli?
Yeah, I guess so. Those are his tattoos, anyway. The scorpion and the Marine Corps anchor thing on his arms. He's got one on his back, too. A big one of an eagle and a Confederate flag, if you want to turn him over.
And his clothing, his watch, gold chains?
Yeah, they're his. Hey, that all you need me for? I gotta get back to the Sunset. I got a public.
Just a few more questions, Mrs. Fiorelli.
Don't call me that. I'm Laura Fiorelli. You got that? Laura Fiorelli.
Yes, ma'am. Well, when did you last see your husband, Mr. Fiorelli?
Oh, it's been ages. A year and a half, maybe. We separated. I have no idea what he's been up to since, and I couldn't care less. Can I go now? I have a show in a couple of hours. Hey, makeup. Do you have any idea? You done with me or not?
Well, now, Mrs.
Look, Sheriff, I can get Manny's lawyers here in 5 minutes if you want to charge me with something.
No.
Otherwise.
We're done. We're done. Thank you for your time. I have to ask you not to leave the county, Mrs. Fiorelli, until this matter has been fully investigated.
Mrs. Laura Fiorelli! Don't you get it? Oh, what the hell. Call me Laura. See you in the funny papers, Sheriff.
Yeah, she's the torch singer there. Quite a handful to deal with.
I see.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, Sergeant. She's the real thing. Never understood why she sticks around here when she could be a big name anywhere. Or why she and Fiorelli ever hooked up. She's the attraction out there, draws the crowds in. That woman really can sing a song. Oh, and look, these people are a hard lot, fellas. You better keep your eyes open and your mind sharp.
That we will, Sheriff.
Wow, Laura Fiorelli. Really, Joe? That's one beautiful woman.
Welcome to the Sunset Lounge, folks, the hottest spot in Kitsap County, where you can count on the best in music and entertainment and the finest in dining. Tonight, we have something really special for you.
So, what's with the blonde Manny? This Lathrop broad got a nice smile, has she? Getting a taste for blue bloods now, are ya?
That's none of your business, baby. Shove off. You're on in 10 minutes.
Don't push me, Manny. You got your hands full right here. And you better watch it, sweetheart, with our little boat ride coming up down to California and all that smack we got packed away. You need to stay focused, Manny. And don't you forget we're invested in each other.
We'll be back with our true crime story in a moment. But first, have you tried Fatima yet? Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette. You will be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes. Your first puff will tell you Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Ooh, Fatima. I can taste that mildness. The rich aroma of Fatima.
And you'll find they now cost the same. In Fatima, there's a real difference because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos blended superbly. And in Fatima, that difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness and much better flavor and aroma. The size is the same. Now the price is the same. So if you haven't tried a pack of Fatima yet, buy one tomorrow. Start enjoying Fatima and see for yourself the difference. We will conclude tonight's true crime broadcast, Murder in Poulsbo, the big story, after this brief intermission. Don't go away.
Next time. Yeah, next time. We'll get everything.